Hello, and welcome to this devotional from the You Need Faith in Jesus team. Today, we're diving into what might be one of the boldest prayers in the entire Bible, Psalm 26. This is not some timid little request. This is a powerful, almost startling invitation for God to come and inspect a life from the inside out. So let's jump in and see what this incredible prayer can teach us about what it means to live with real, unshakable confidence before God.
All right, so here's our game plan for walking through this psalm. We're going to break it down into 4 parts. First up, we'll look at David's shocking opening line, "Judge me, O Lord." Then we'll dig into the evidence he presents for a life that's truly set apart. After that, we'll see the amazing conclusion he reaches in "My foot stands firm." And finally, and this is the important part, we'll figure out how to take all this and apply it to our own lives right here, right now. So David kicks things off with a request that, if we're being honest, might make a lot of us a little uncomfortable, right? He basically throws open the doors to his heart and says, God, come on in. Look at everything. Talk about a bold move. So what in the world gave him that kind of confidence? Let's find out. Okay, so the reason for this boldness is right here in this first verse. It really stands on 2 legs. First, David says, I have walked in my integrity, meaning the overall direction of his life, his heart's aim, has been towards God. But then, and this is key, he immediately adds, I have trusted also in the Lord. See, he knows his stability isn't coming from his own perfect record. Not at all. It's his sincere walk plus his total trust in God that lets him say with such certainty, therefore I shall not slide. Now, to really get this, we've got to unpack that word integrity. In the original Hebrew, the word is tam, and it means something like wholeness or sincerity, a completeness of heart. This is so important. David is not saying, hey God, I'm perfect. I never mess up. No way. He's saying that the entire direction, the whole orientation of his life is aimed at God. It's all about the direction of his heart, not a claim to a perfect, flawless performance. And he doesn't stop there. He actually doubles down. He says, examine me, prove me, try me. He invites God to test his reins and my heart, which is a really cool Hebrew way of saying his deepest emotions, his inner thoughts, the whole shebang. And why is he so confident? Because he tells us his motivation. For thy loving kindness is before mine eyes. He keeps God's love and faithfulness front and center, and he's chosen to walk in God's truth. That's his guide, that's his path. All right, so after making this bold appeal, David basically says, okay, here's my evidence. He starts to lay out what this life of integrity actually looks like day to day. He's showing that his commitment isn't just talk, it's backed up by his choices. And what you see here is a contrast that's just night and day. On one side, you have the walk of integrity, actively avoiding vain, evil, wicked people. And on the other, the path of deceit. David makes it clear that a life of integrity means making conscious choices about who you surround yourself with. And this isn't about being arrogant or holier than thou. It's about spiritual survival. He gets it. The people you're closest to will absolutely shape who you become. And this next verse, this is the heart of it all. This tells us why he's making these choices. It's not just some grim duty like taking off a list of don'ts. No, it's driven by a positive passion. He says, Lord, I have loved the habitation of thy house. He genuinely loves being where God is. His heart is pulled, it's drawn toward God's presence. And that brings us to such a critical point, you guys. A life of integrity, a life of true holiness, isn't just about what you avoid, it's about what you passionately love. All of David's actions, all his choices, they're just the natural overflow of a deep love for God. That love is the real engine driving this whole thing. Okay, now we get to the climax of this whole prayer. David has invited God to look at his heart, he's presented his evidence, and now he rests his case. And this is where we see that his ultimate confidence isn't in himself, but in the character of God. And that leads to this incredible, deep sense of security. And just look at the beautiful balance in this verse. He starts with this strong contrast, but as for me, and he repeats his commitment to walk in integrity. But in the exact same breath, he makes this incredibly humble plea, redeem me and be merciful unto me. He absolutely knows that his commitment, his ability to keep going is only possible because of God's redeeming power and constant mercy. And what's the result of all this? It's this powerful, confident statement, my foot standeth in an even place. That feeling of being on solid, level ground, no slipping, no sliding. It comes directly from that combination we just talked about. It's our sincere commitment plus our total reliance on God's grace. That's what puts us on unshakable ground. That's real security. And you know what? This amazing security doesn't just lead to a quiet sigh of relief. It's not private. It bubbles up and overflows into public praise. David's journey ends with a promise to bless the Lord in the congregations. This whole thing, from the personal prayer to the personal security, finds its ultimate expression when we're together worshiping God. Okay, so this is an incredible ancient prayer. But what does it have to do with us living our lives today? Well, in this final section, we're going to take David's psalm and turn it into a practical guide that you and I can actually use. So how do we actually do this? Here are 4 simple, practical steps we can take. Number 1, invite God's scrutiny. Yeah, it's scary, but be brave enough to pray David's prayer. Ask God to really search your heart. Number 2, choose your company wisely. Really think about the influences in your life. Who are you letting shape you? 3, cultivate a love for worship. This is about more than just showing up. It's about learning to truly delight in being with God and his people. And finally, number 4, depend on God's mercy. Never forget to pair your desire to live rightly with a humble reliance on his grace. It's the only way it works. So let's bring this all home. I want to leave you with a question to think about this week. Based on everything we've seen in Psalm 26, what is just one area? Maybe it's a motive, a relationship, or even just a recurring thought where you will ask God to examine your heart this week. Something to really chew on. Thanks so much for joining us for this devotional.